The Carolina Panthers just flipped the script so fast that people around the league are asking the same quiet question: what if this is real? A month ago, they were treated like background noise. Now the tape looks like a team that wants the big moment, not a team hoping to survive it. The shocking part is not one lucky win. It is the way they are choosing risk, choosing pressure, and forcing defenses to feel panic on snaps where Carolina used to play safe. This change starts with trust, and it is pointed right at Bryce Young. Carolina is not trying to hide him anymore. They are letting him push the ball and decide games instead of just managing them. That kind of shift does not happen unless the whole building agrees on it, from Dave Canales calling it like he believes, to Dan Morgan backing an identity that is built to attack. When a team stops fearing mistakes, it stops handing opponents easy drives, and it starts playing like it expects to take something from you. But here's the twist. The league will not care about vibes or confidence. It will care about the rematch that is sitting right in front of them. The New Orleans Saints already made Carolina pay once, and this time the Panthers walk in with a different edge and a different mindset, which makes it dangerous for both sides. If Carolina really became what the NFL feared, it has to show up when the opponent knows what is coming, because the Saints game is where belief either turns into control or it turns back into a lesson. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Panthers and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 300 likes on this video. The Carolina Panthers are walking into a game that can rewrite the whole division story in one afternoon, because New Orleans already hit them once, and nobody forgets a sweep in a rivalry. This is the kind of matchup where the crowd noise feels louder, every mistake feels bigger, and one drive can turn a season from climbing to collapsing. The scary part is both teams believe they have a reason to own this moment, which is exactly why it can get wild fast. New Orleans is not showing up just to play spoiler, they are showing up to prove they still control this matchup, and that starts with Tyler Shough. He is a rookie quarterback playing with nothing to lose, chasing team history, and leaning on weapons who can punish one bad step, like Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson. Then you add a tone setter like Alontae Taylor, a defender who lives for these games, and suddenly this becomes less about records and more about who lands the first punch and who flinches when the pressure hits. Carolina cannot treat this like a normal week because New Orleans already has answers for what they want to do, and that forces the Panthers to show what is real and what was just a hot stretch. If the Saints can predict the first few calls, they can turn the game into long downs and tight windows, and that is where panic starts for most teams. So the big question becomes this: what does Carolina dial up early when everyone in the stadium expects the same old script? Because the next part of this story is about how the Panthers started calling drives like they were built to stress defenses from the very first snap. The Carolina Panthers changed the way a drive feels from the first snap, and you can see it before the ball even leaves the hand. They use motion to force a defense to tip its plan, they stack receivers to create free releases, and they put speed on the field so a corner has to choose between playing tight or giving up space. What nobody is talking about is how much this messes with a coordinator's comfort, because when your rules keep getting tested early, you start calling the game like you are guessing. The twist is that the big plays are not random. They are set up like a trap. Carolina uses quick throws to pull defenders forward, then hits the same area behind them when eyes get greedy. They change the launch point so the pass rush cannot sit in one spot, and they call plays that give simple reads while still threatening the deep ball. That is why third down does not feel like a survival snap anymore. It feels like a snap where the defense is one wrong step away from a chunk gain. And here's where the pressure really builds. This style only stays alive if the defense has to respect the run on any down. If the ground game is not a real threat, those motions and stacks stop scaring anyone, because the defense can sit back and wait on routes. So the real question becomes this: what is powering the run game enough to keep the whole playbook open? And why does the backfield rotation suddenly feel like a weapon instead of just a way to rest legs? The Carolina Panthers are not keeping the run game as a backup plan anymore. They are using it as the reason defenses cannot breathe. You watch a series now and it feels like Carolina is saying, "We will hit you with power, then hit you with speed, then hit you again before you can reset." The surprising part is how the backfield looks organized instead of desperate. Like every carry is meant to force a reaction and set up the next punch. That is where Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard become a real problem, because they are not taking turns to rest, they are taking turns to attack different spots. One run dents the middle, the next bends outside, then a quick catch makes linebackers chase in space, and suddenly the defense is tired by the second quarter. When a team is willing to stack 30-plus carries across a game, it is not just trying to run the clock, it is trying to make your front seven feel every drive in their legs. And it works because the people up front are doing the small things that change a run from 2 yards to a first down. Austin Corbett, Cade Mays, and Damian Lewis are giving the backs cleaner paths and better angles. And that forces safeties to creep closer and corners to hesitate for one beat. Now, the whole question shifts to the quarterback, because when defenses finally lean forward to stop the run, that is when Bryce Young gets the kind of chances that can swing a game in one throw. And the next part is how Carolina is letting him take those chances without fear. The Carolina Panthers watch defenses treat Bryce Young like he could be boxed in, like the deep throw was a dare instead of a fear. They crowded the short game, squeezed the easy lanes, and waited for the one mistake that would tilt the whole day. What made that stretch so frustrating was how it forced Carolina to play small, because when a defense does not respect the pass, every drive feels like it is walking a tightrope. Then something changed in the way Bryce Young carried the game. Instead of rushing the first safe option, he started holding his ground, letting routes form, and throwing with timing that beats coverage before it even looks open. That earlier pain, the one with the 2 throws he wanted back, did not break him. It sharpened him, because now he is playing like he expects the tough moments and welcomes them. You can feel it in how he handles pressure, how he keeps his eyes up, and how he attacks the parts of the field that defenses used to guard with disrespect. And when a quarterback plays like that, the whole team starts acting different. Receivers finish routes like they know the ball can arrive. The sideline stays calm when the game gets tight, and the offense stops looking for permission to be great. The shocking part is what this does to the other side of the ball, because once Carolina believes it can answer fast, the defense stops playing careful and starts hunting the play that ends the opponent's day. The Carolina Panthers defense is not waiting for the other team to make a mistake anymore. They are forcing the moment that turns the whole game. You feel it in the speed to the ball, the way they crowd throwing lanes, and how fast the energy shifts when they get a stop. The shocking part is the timing, because these plays are showing up when the game is tight, when most defenses only try to hold on. The proof is in the finishers, and it starts with Derek Brown making the kind of play that ends an opponent's last real chance. That strip on Matthew Stafford was not luck. It was power and focus in the biggest snap. And when pressure starts landing on time, the back end gets bold too, like the day they took Brock Purdy off his comfort and grabbed 3 picks in one half. Even Lathan Ransom is already making a name for himself in moments like that. And if you call him a rookie, you can see why people remember the hit and the sack more than the box score. Then there is the part that matters most in games like the Saints rematch: ownership. J.C. Horn did not hide from the first meeting, he owned what he gave up. And that mindset spreads through a locker room fast. When a team stops making excuses, it starts fixing details. And details are what decide division games. But here is what changes everything. Who set this standard inside the building? And how did the leadership group turn one bad loss into the fuel for a whole new identity? The Carolina Panthers are not just winning games. They are breaking a pattern that has trapped this team for years, where one good stretch never turned into something stable. What feels different now is how clear the voice is inside the building. The calls match the message, and the message matches the way players compete when the game gets tight. When a team stops chasing quick fixes and starts living by one identity, you stop seeing random effort. You start seeing a standard that shows up every week. The roster tells the same story, because it is built to fit the plan instead of chasing headlines. Tetaroa McMillan gives the offense a real weapon who can change a drive. Nick Scorton and Princely Umanmielen add juice to the edge so quarterbacks do not get to relax, and Trevor Etienne adds another way to keep defenses on their heels when legs get tired. Even a move like Christian Rosaboom matters, because winning teams stack steady players who do the dirty work and keep the floor high when injuries hit or games get messy. That is how depth becomes an advantage, not just a list of names. But here's the hard truth. None of this earns respect unless it holds up when the lights get hot and the opponent knows exactly what you want to do. This team can talk about a new standard all day, but the league only listens when you prove it in the biggest spots, in the games that swing a division and flip how everyone talks about you. So the real tension is simple. When the Panthers hit that pressure moment again, what will they lean on first? And which parts of their identity will decide if this run becomes a real statement? The Carolina Panthers are at the point where style is not enough, because this week is where the league decides if the surge is real or just loud. One clean win can push them into the driver's seat in the South, and one sloppy quarter can hand the whole race back to New Orleans. This is a pressure game, not a highlight game, because every choice gets judged: the fourth down calls, the red zone calls, and the way they handle the first punch. Carolina's path is simple to say and hard to live. Win early downs so the playbook stays wide open, then finish drives with touchdowns instead of settling. That means the run game has to stay sharp with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, and the passing game has to stay fearless with Bryce Young even when the Saints tighten the windows. On the other side, the defense has to make every throw feel crowded, keep leverage, and tackle clean. Because Tyler Shuck will take chances if the look is there, and targets like Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson can swing a drive fast. If Carolina wants control, it has to steal one extra possession with pressure from Derek Brown, clean communication from J.C. Horn, and timely help from Lathan Ransom, then turn that moment into points. And here is what makes it bigger than one Sunday. The schedule after this is built to test the Panthers in public. 2 games with Tampa Bay are sitting there like a final exam, and Seattle is the kind of matchup that tells everyone what your ceiling really is. If Carolina handles New Orleans the right way, that belief becomes something stronger, because now every opponent knows what the Panthers want to do and still has to stop it. The next stretch is where a team either becomes a story or becomes a problem that nobody wants to see.